Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. I'm glad that you joined us today. My name is Ken Countess, and we've got a great hour worth of content for you, and I hope that you'll participate during the course of the event. This is a live event. During the course of this webinar, I want to remind you of a couple of things. Use the Ask a Question button. That's in the upper left-hand corner of your screen, just to the right of where it says Meeting Burner. And you can use that button to ask a question live or leave me some feedback or even let me know what kind of a business you're in. So use the Ask a Question button in the upper left-hand corner of your screen and use it throughout the event. Also, slide the meeting temperature button down at the bottom of your screen. That's represented by the scale that goes from blue on the left to orange on the right, and there's a little white dot in the middle. You can actually slide that dot back and forth, and that will give me some instantaneous feedback on what you're thinking as we go through the course of the content here. So with that underway, I want to again and welcome to our session. We're going to be talking about one of the core marketing campaign types, events, and the effective use of online registration. And I want to say right off the top that this session won't be addressing best practices around event planning topics like venue selection or planning event entertainment or dining options or running fundraising activities like live or silent auctions and so on. This is about solely focused on helping you learn more about effective event promotion and streamlining your online registration efforts. So I've got a lot to go through with just these two topics, so we'll get underway right now. I want to provide you with my contact information. It's what appears on screen, and you will be getting a copy of this presentation, so you don't need to scribble everything down. But this is to let you know a couple of things. First, the Countess Group is a marketing consultancy that's been around since 2001. We're in our 14th year right now. We're master certified constant contact experts. There are only about 20 of us in the world, and so I'm privileged to hold that title. We're also Microsoft partners and Google partners, so if you have questions about any of those kinds of products, you can go ahead and drop me a line or give me a call, and we'll try to help you out. Our contact information, you see a local phone number. We have the email address and website that you can go to at any time, of course, and we're active on the 7 social media channels that you see listed below. So I encourage you to connect with us on social, on email, and check out our website as well. As far as my credentials, I spent about 25 years in corporate America at such well-known names as Motorola, where I spent over 20 years. I've worked at Marriott and CVS Caremark and other companies as well. And over the last 14 years or so, our clients have included some of these names. These are the more recognizable names, but also we've served dozens, if not hundreds at this point, of small to medium-sized businesses and nonprofits. And we define small to medium-sized as anywhere between $1 million and $500 million. So the odds are pretty good that you fall into one of those areas. And so if you need help with anything related to marketing, we not only focus on things like constant contact and event marketing and email marketing and social media, but also we do build websites and handle public relations and develop strategic marketing plans. So the odds are pretty good that we can help you out, whatever your need may be. Okay, just a quick review. These are some of the products and services that are offered by Constant Contact. Many of you I know are very, very familiar with the email marketing platform. Constant Contact is the largest email service provider in the country with over 600,000 subscribers. Also offers and promotions, feedback, and surveys, which are not items that we're going to cover today, but if you're already using their products, they're already built into your dashboard, and you ought to take advantage of them. And events and registrations. I know that you registered to attend this webinar. That's how you got the information to log in. Well, that was all done using Constant Contact events and registrations. So it's a great tool. It's very powerful. If you at any time want to hold an event, I strongly urge you to check out that product. For those of you who are not yet using Constant Contact, I have three special offers that I'll be presenting to you at the end of the webinar, so make sure you stay around for the whole thing. You'll be able to get 30% off your first 3 months of service, and you'll be able to get a free reusable campaign template and an hour of free live help. That's a $375 value. So stick around until the end, and I'll give you the details. If you're already using Constant Contact, I'd invite you to become a VIP. We have a VIP partner loyalty program. Think of it like a hotel loyalty or an airline loyalty program like American Airlines Advantage or Marriott Rewards. Free to sign up, no membership fees. We offer $2,000 in free services to members. You'll just have to send me an email and we'll provide you with the details. Okay, we have a lot to cover, so here's what we're going to do today. We're going to quickly talk about the different kinds of events, how there may be an event type that would work for you if you only got a little creative. And then we'll share some reasons for running an event and how to approach the overwhelming question I get time and time again: should it be free or should it be paid? And then we'll talk about promotion of your event and a rough timeline that you can try for different kinds of promotional activities. Then we'll talk about online registration tools and why they make up an important part of your event management efforts. And then finally, we'll recognize that just because the event is over, your work really isn't done. We'll talk about post-event actions. And I also want to make a quick note about for-profits and nonprofits and industry verticals. I'm asked all the time about how these things I'm talking about should be adjusted or changed for a retail operation or a nonprofit or a services firm or someone in a different industry vertical. Well, the good news is that the principles I'll be talking about today are largely universal. They can benefit a nonprofit just as much as a for-profit. A B2B business can follow these just as readily as a B2C. A restaurant can succeed with these ideas just as readily as a yoga studio, a market research firm, a church, a bookstore, a medical practice, CPA firm, whatever. So you may have different considerations to make for your select audiences or your organization, but in large part what you'll be learning here are best practices, and they are best practices across the board. All right, so let's get into the different types of events. But before we do that, I want to give you a simple definition or a framework for what marketing really is. I mean, you already know generally what it is, but when I say the word marketing, I mean something very specific. And so it's important that we're all on the same page. My definition of marketing has three simple parts. You define an audience, a group of people you want to target, and you reach out to them with a message that is specific to that audience. And you seek to elicit a physical, measurable response. And that may be a click, a reply, a call, a purchase, a referral. All of these are actions that represent a decision made by a human to react to your message. So keep this in mind as I go through marketing and marketing campaigns and the ways to deliver the most effective campaigns. You're doing these things because you want people, your customers, your clients, your donors, your supporters to do something. And our topic for today, the campaign type events and registrations, is absolutely about getting a response. So let's talk about campaigns and what that word really means. Very simply, there are two parts to a campaign. First, you push out some sort of content to your followers or supporters. And then second, you hope to pull some sort of a response from them. You want them to read or forward or share what you sent, show up, call, attend. You want them to take an action of some sort. So think about a campaign in terms of push-pull. And more importantly, don't think about it as just putting an offer out there and making a sale. In today's marketing world, It's much more like a conversation, which lends itself to an advantage that we have over big business. As a small company or as a nonprofit, we can engage in a conversation that feels and in fact is much less like a sales gimmick and much more like nurturing a relationship. And if you're doing it right, it will seem like that from both sides of the conversation. And in the case of events, what we're doing is pushing out invitations and information about the event. And we're hoping to pull in registrations. And that's the campaign. So when we use the word event, the image that often comes to mind is that of a gala or dinner with entertainment in a reception hall. And that's accurate, but there are other types as well. And here are just a few. Maybe seminars and lectures, workshops and classes, conferences, social gatherings, networking, fundraisers, and galas. And think about how this may apply to the kinds of things that you may be thinking about conducting a major campaign for. And if there are some certain kinds of events that you're considering, go ahead and use the Ask a Question button in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. Let me know maybe what kinds of events you are thinking about, what you may have coming up, and then maybe we can provide some insights and help for you to help make sure that this event that's coming up for you will be the most effective one possible. So go ahead, I'll take a moment here and wait, and let's see what kind of feedback we get. Okay, we've got fundraisers, we've got a 5K coming up, we have someone who's going to conduct a lunch and learn. That's all terrific. Let's see, we have a few more coming in now. Cost-effective way to get registrations for a 2-day conference, social gatherings, conducting seminars, an open house, a chamber business card exchange. Great. Thank you for all that feedback, and we'll make sure we get through these and give you as much insight as we can. Another one coming in, an open house and an educational lecture. So that's terrific. We've got some new ways to think about what an event is, and you may have even heard an idea out of all the other feedback we've gotten so far on things that you may want to consider for your organization. I've got another one that came in, a VIP reception for customers and prospects that's actually competing with other receptions going on at the same time. Okay, so let's get a little bit deeper into things, into why an organization would want to run an event. So the first question is, what's your goal? Well, across all of these kinds of events, at their core is that some organization has a reason for hosting an event. Now, think about the types of goals you may have for an event. Do any of these look familiar to you as goals that you've set for your events before? Raising money, driving purchases, creating face-to-face engagement, maybe rewarding loyalty, celebrating a milestone, growing your list, providing education, and offering yourself as an expert. So many of you have contributed many of those same kinds of ideas. So this is great. We've got a running leap into the next part of the content, which is whether to charge or not. You know, it can be hard trying to determine what to charge for an event. And sometimes it's hard to determine if you actually want to charge anything at all. In some cases, you may not be sure if people will be willing to pay for your event. So let me take a little bit of the stress out of that question. We took a look at over 200,000 RSVPs in which people declined an invitation and looked at the reasons why people say no thanks. And here's what we found. Over half cited conflicts with dates and times. Another almost 30% cited other, but if you drill down into the reasons, most of those were related to date, time, or location. An additional 10% did cite location directly. So in essence, about 90% of the reasons people say no come down to timing and location. And when it comes down to cost, out of all those responses, the percentage of people who cited cost as the reason they were declining was 0.01%. Now think about that. Out of 200,000 responses, only 0.01 cited cost. That's only 20 people. So what's the takeaway here? The takeaway is don't be afraid to charge for your event. And what's important to consider is the value you're offering your attendees. So ask, is there a perceived value built into the event and your marketing of the event? And will people be willing to come out of their own pocket to attend? Well, there's a concept that I talk about regularly in my seminars, and it's called the engagement marketing cycle. And what this does is it outlines the connections between key elements of a relationship that a business or organization has with its customers, clients, or donors. Events definitely have a place in this cycle. Events are definitely about the wow experience, but they also have a place in each other part of the engagement marketing cycle. They give organizations a reason to ask people to stay in touch. So you entice so that other followers can learn about other events. And the experience at the event creates a ready connection around which engagement can be created. So, for example, remember things like you may have a gala and post things like, remember at our gala when this happened, with a picture. Events provide opportunities for social visibility during the event or before and after with the sharing of stories, pictures, results, and so on. And finally, everybody loves to hear about a great party or gathering or a meaningful reason to get together. So events supported by engagement and social visibility will draw new prospects to your business or to your cause. So we've talked about different kinds of events that you could think about and the goals that you could have for one, or why to consider charging for one, and the important role that events can play in helping you stay engaged with your audiences. So now let's talk about promotion of the event. Studies show that it's best to promote your event over a period of time that makes sense for the type of event that your organization has, your audience, and their planning horizon, and so on. So there was a case here where there's one event that's competing with other receptions going on at the same time. And we have somebody that's hosting an open house and a chamber business card exchange and someone that's planning on a 2-day conference. How do you get the attendance up at these things? Well, for our purposes today, I'm going to talk about a sample 6-week promotional period. But you can think about how you would stretch these core promotional periods out over the length of your ideal time frame. And we're not just talking about blasting out your registration URL for 6 weeks in a row. What we've done is we've broken down a success formula here into 3 stages. The first is creating buzz. The second is increasing registration, and then maximizing attendance. And each stage is broken down into different best practices that are designed to help you achieve the goal of that stage. And each of these stages come together to make your event a success. The one piece of promotion that can and should be sent out before this time frame is the save the date notice. Be sure that you leave plenty of time for your audience to start making the plans. There may be travel involved. You may be competing with something else. So you want to get it on your audience's calendar early. Creating buzz is all the groundwork you can do to get people excited about your event and on their radar, even before you share the event registration URL. And email newsletters are a fantastic way to stay top of mind with your customers. It keeps them thinking about your organization so that when they're ready to buy or donate or recommend you to a friend, you are the first to come to mind. And when you create compelling content, people want to read it. and share it with their friends and family. And when they're reading your newsletter, make sure they're reading about your upcoming events too. Talking about the event is not enough. And make sure that registration is only one click away. Your email newsletter really is a great place to promote your events because it reaches a wide audience and it takes advantage of the places that they're already paying attention to. And these are the exact same reasons you should also promote your event on your website. With a lot of event management systems, it's very easy to do this. It doesn't require constantly updating your web designer or swapping out code. It's a change you make once, and it will update your website automatically for every new event you publish. And just like your email, registration is just one click away, making it easy for your audience. By promoting your event through your email newsletter and your website, you're taking advantage of the places your customers are already engaging and looking. So what about the places prospects are looking for events? Well, this is where public listings come in. With online event management systems, you can push your event out automatically to sites like Events in America and social events. But don't just stop there. Make sure your local press covers your event as well, whether that's the newspaper, an event calendar, co-marketing opportunities with other businesses, whatever the place, just make sure to get your event out there. So let's talk about increasing registration. Once you get the word out and generated buzz, the next step is to motivate people to register. Use all of the tools that you have available to you, starting with the registration form and an event homepage you create. And the event homepage is something that is often baked into an online event management and registration tool. Make sure all the pertinent information is listed in those places, and I'll talk more about registration best practices in a few minutes. But then you build on that buzz and drive registration through the invitations you send, whether they be through email or newsletters, or real invitations sent out through the U.S. Postal Service. And then finally, take full advantage of all of your social media channels, especially because they will help word of your event spread beyond just your local supporters and your loyal supporters, and may encourage people new to your organization to come along. Let's talk about maximizing attendance, and that happens a couple of weeks prior to the actual event date. A lot of times event promotion focuses on driving registration, and that's great. But event attendance is an even more important of your promotional strategy. So now let's take a look at best practices that you can apply to maximize registration. There's no question why you should send a reminder. However, you don't want to just settle for resending the event invitation. Don't pass up this great opportunity to get them excited about attending, especially because it will be seen by a large portion of your registrants. Many customers of ours have over a 60% open rate. So be sure to include a link to a pre-event survey or poll. Show an event countdown. Provide speaker information, and make it easy to share. And if your event requires a ticket for entry, make sure to include a reminder for registrants to print it out ahead of time. And it's a great reminder for them to attend, and it will make your check-in process much easier. Although your event homepage link remains static, you can still update the page. So make sure it has the most up-to-date information. Keep rotating the content so people will want to come back. Get registrants excited about the event, and you can provide additional event info. You can get more promotional real estate, and so on. And don't forget to take advantage of your social channels. And we'll talk about the concept of social proof in a few minutes. And you'll see why leveraging the social visibility of your organization and your followers is so important. So now let's look at the benefits and some best practices around online registration. One of the early choices you make as an event planner has to do with the tools you use to manage various details of your event. And there are two big buckets that we can place these tools in. And to put it simply, we refer to these as online and offline tools. And to be clear, offline doesn't equal just paper. It refers to an entire mix of resources and other tools that you're likely using. In fact, in some recent research that we conducted of customers using our event management tools, we found a lot of them were using a mix. And none of these likely are surprises. Excel spreadsheets, phone, Outlook, other email, these are all what we consider offline or indirect event management tools. And I refer to them as indirect because your invitee isn't registering directly into the event database. They just reply to an invitation through phone call, email, regular mail, and so on. And then you or a member of your staff is entering the data into the spreadsheet or system. What you don't see here are things like paper invitations, save the date cards, and so on. But these are important, but not something I'm going to go through in any detail today. To be clear, though, I'm a big fan of paper invitations because they can be artistic and exciting. They can reflect your brand and the brand for your event. And they can start to give the recipient a sense of the event long before they step into the room. So what we're focused on today here are the online tools that, as we'll show, can help streamline the registration process by bringing together a number of different elements of the registration process, and ultimately make your life as an event planner or manager easier. So now let me take a moment and let's take a look at what we mean when we say online registration. First, I'm guessing that most of you have seen or even completed an online registration form. I'm sure you have because you signed up to attend today. But you may even be familiar with the fact that activities you do online can be reflected in reporting from the online tool. Online registration is an electronic way to capture information about people coming to your event. And during the act of registration, you can also capture fees, guest information, and so on. And certain online registration tools may automatically enter that information into lists you have or allow you to integrate with email and social media marketing tools. And when I'm talking about online registration, I'm referring to tools that you can use that allow for the input of event registration information, including event details like menu selections or payment for attendance. So you may be wondering why you should use online registration tools, especially if you've already got a mix of tools that work for you. And that's a great question. The reality of online registration tools is that they make life easier for you and your invitees. And easier refers to the fact that your registration process is now an engine or switch that's always on and allows for the collection of more information than a simple yes or no, or maybe on an RSVP from an invitation. It'll be easier for you and your invitees, and here's how it will help you with invitation accepts and declines, because they can all be quickly pulled together in one place. And if you're charging fees, a lot of online tools allow you to collect fees as part of the registration process. And you can be collecting information 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And of course, the best part is that you don't actually have to collect or enter or handle the information. It all goes directly into your database. So think of this like being part of a conversation with your invitees, except that you don't actually have to be there, and it happens at a time when your invitees wanted to, which increases the likelihood that they'll register because it happens on their schedule. All of the information you collect will be in one central location, responses to questions you ask in the registration process, billing information, and so on, are all in one place rather than in different places, on paper or in a computer and so on. Another benefit is that if you host your registration online, most tools will allow you to automatically update registrants with any event changes, like in the time or the venue or speakers, even after they've registered, and that all happens with the click of a button. And if you want, or if your event requires it, you can also sell items related to the event or collect donations related to your cause, again, with all of that information ending up in one place from which you can do with it what you need. In one word, online registration tools make your life easier. And in addition to being easier, you're also going to find that expectations around where registration takes place have been changing. So how have they been changing? As technology has moved more of our lives and the management of our lives online, more people expect to manage tasks like registering for events through a computer or even a smartphone. The number today is as many as 50%. Half of people who receive paper invitations are expecting to be able to register online. And I mentioned the invitation earlier. A great online registration tool is one that allows you to streamline the sending of invitations to your list and brings together the information for the event with your email list to send it out to your audience. There are a couple of things to keep in mind as you build your invitation. First, use simple graphics. Make sure that you include all of the basics. Have a compelling message. Anticipate questions like, can I bring a friend? Will my parking be validated? Should I bring my invitation with me? And so on. And write a subject line for your email that will ensure that you're recognizable. Combine your organization's name with a person's name where possible. Improve your chances of the invitation being opened. And after crafting your invitation, you can start building out your registration form. The first thing to consider as you start building your registration form is that you don't want to make it difficult, complicated, or overly time-consuming for your invitee to complete the registration. This is an example of a form that just on appearances alone, you may not consider moving ahead. It just looks complicated. It actually asks for 14 separate pieces of information. Now, there's an important point I need to make here. If your event requires you to ask for 14 pieces of information, then do so. But do everything to ensure that you're asking only for the information that's most necessary for you to have and most appropriately relevant to your event. Avoid the temptation to use a registration form as a vehicle for asking every question you ever wanted to ask, or as a vehicle, as a platform from which to get a lot of detail about the event, your organization, and so on. So what should a well-designed form look like? And let's take a look. You've worked really hard to develop your brand and expose your brand personality in whatever you do. So why wouldn't you take the opportunity to do that with your event registration as well? Customize your registration so that it reflects your brand. Use your logo, colors. If using online registration, send from an email address that invitees will recognize as your organization. Public or private events, it applies to both. Also, be sure to use language that you use for your organization. If you call people members, cozy knitters, business executives, or whatever, then use that language. So the registration form is customized to reflect your brand. One variation on this idea is to reflect the brand of the event. Maybe it's a VIP event for members only. Maybe it has a different look and feel in that case than the standard brand. Maybe you're honoring somebody at a private event. You could have their picture. In most cases, the event look and feel will incorporate your organization's brand, so it should be easy to match the event's brand. And as with the invitation, there are some basics to consider for your registration form or page. And don't worry, we'll get to the information that you want to collect in just a moment, but don't forget the basics. First, make sure everything you create has your logo on it or the logo of the event. Don't assume that just because they clicked on a link or found themselves on the registration page that they remember who you are. Provide all the pertinent details, date, time, location, and a map if that feature is available to you. And make sure the name of the event is on the form. Again, don't assume anything. You should provide a brief description of the event to remind them of what it's all about. Keep your form fields as simple as possible. Recognize that with the amount of information flying at people these days, you want to take every opportunity to remind them of who you are and what they're signing up for. Again, keep it simple. So what information should you seek to collect? Well, let me talk about that now. How much and what information you collect really is a tricky question to answer. The short answer is that you want to collect only as much information as you need in order to effectively manage the event. For example, here are a few common questions asked on registration forms. Now, notice it's not a big, long list of items. Why? Because people are time-starved and information overloaded. And that includes being asked to fill out forms, enter their data. So if you're clearly soliciting information that's connected to the event, then you're likely to get a good completion rate. Be aware there's plenty of research to support the fact that the longer a form is, there's a higher chance that someone won't complete it. So even if there are questions you want to ask related to your business or organization, but they're not related to the event, find a different approach to asking them. Try collecting the bare minimum of information that you need, and make sure there's a purpose for everything that you collect. Don't ask for information you're not going to use. For example, demographics can help you plan or adjust your logistics or entertainment or auction items. An audience that has more women than men, for example, could lead you to make different choices than if it were the other way around. If you're allowing guests, collect that information, especially so you can manage your seating and event capacity. If you have different session options, asking ahead of time what your attendees will do will help you communicate about openings, adjust staffing, even add or remove or talk up different options. And all of the event-specific information that you may want will clearly help you manage the details like meal options, clothing sizes and quantities, even help you better understand the makeup of your audience. And this is where a "how did you hear about our event" question can help see if you have a high number of returning customers, or VIPs, or new supporters coming to your event, because that may allow you to adjust your remarks. And payment clearly is important. If you're collecting payments and payment information ahead of time, you better be able to manage your event. You'll be better able to manage your event budget and finances. So knowing that a larger number of your registrants plan to pay at the door may impact how you pay for certain aspects of the event in advance. So with this idea in mind, here are a few other things you might want to ask. You might want to ask about meal and giveaway information. Maybe you have a lot of vegetarians. Maybe you need special sizes. Asking about some things that may seem unrelated actually could help a lot. If you run a summer camp and you want to know what school the child attended, that could help you put kids into groups of others they may know. Again, the key takeaway here is to make sure you're asking for information that's relevant to your event. And once you have the set of questions you want to ask, With online tools, there's another important consideration that you want to make, one that will help you make better use of the information. You've got questions that you want to ask, so then you just build out the form and provide space for the answers and you're off to the races, right? No. Here's an example of a form that may have been created that way. Clearly, there's a lot of information they want to collect, and they've provided ample space for those answers. But what's wrong with this picture? They're all open-ended questions. And why is that a problem? Because as registrants complete and submit their answers, you'll get a spreadsheet that looks a lot like this. And this is a set of data that will be hard for you to process or analyze easily because of the variety of answers and types of answers. You'd have to do a lot of cleanup work on this spreadsheet before you could make effective use of it. So what should you do instead? The best approach is to provide options in response to each question. Look at this form and how the event manager has made it easy for the registrant to answer questions by asking yes or no, or providing a selection of responses in a drop-down menu. And then, when the event manager looks at the data, they'll find a very clean data set that can be easily sorted or filtered or analyzed, making it much easier to make decisions or changes in event strategy and so on. So remember that good data in equals good data out. And here's another time-tested piece of advice. Make yourself the first test subject for your registration form, even before you send out your registrations and send out your invitations. Be sure that you fill out the form yourself or have members of your staff fill it. And this will help you make sure that it's easy to understand and complete, doesn't have any typos or other errors, and you get a sense of how long it would take to complete. And you can then assess if the time it takes is appropriate for the event and your audience. And once you have a good sense of the time it takes to fill out the form, you can even put a comment in the invite or at the start of the registration process that says something like, this should only take you 3 minutes to complete, or 15 minutes, or 30 minutes, or whatever. So you've come up with questions, you've built a good form to collect the information, you've tested it, and it's live. Now what? Well, one thing you can do is ask your registrants if they'd like others to see that they're attending. With most online registration tools, you would set it up as you set everything else up for your event and your registration form, and then when the registrant gets to the end of the form, they can be asked if they want to share their information with others, with limited information. And if and when they allow that, other registrants will be able to see your event's audience is shaping up well, resulting in an experience that may look something like this. Names become visible to registrants, and it's actually really a great process, because what it does is it creates something called social proof. And what is social proof? Well, it's a phenomenon by which someone looks to see how others are responding to a particular situation or decision before they make their own. Think of when you've driven to a restaurant and found the parking lot empty. Do you wonder if the food is any good? Will you drive on to one with a full parking lot? What happens is that one of your invitees will get to the registration form and see the list of names. And she'll look at the list of names and try to find people that she knows and have similar interests, all as part of the process of deciding whether or not she wants to attend. And if she sees enough of that social proof, she'll be more inclined to think that this is an event worth attending, and she'll complete the registration. And she'll be more likely to show up. You can also extend how this social proof can work for you. Give your registrants an option, maybe to share their registration and a link to the event through their social networks. You can also leverage your own social media channels to try to generate that proof by posting the event on Facebook, as these businesses did. And notice the use of information and even images and video to promote the events. And since these were posted on Facebook, followers of these businesses had commented on and liked these posts, increasing the social proof and driving registrants to the registration page. And in addition to facilitating the collection of information that's relevant to your event, as well as helping provide social proof that might help increase your registrations, online tools and their collection of data can help inform future business decisions. Collecting email addresses for future events will increase your list size. Getting a sense of guests that are coming to an event may help you decide how to approach that audience at your event as you start to build a relationship with them. And other information that you collect will similarly improve your future planning efforts. For example, learning how they heard about the event. Maybe members or past attendees will help you know where to promote your next event to maximize registration. In short, you'll be able to develop and market your events in the future. And if you've decided to collect payment for your event, consider the impact that how you allow them to pay or make donations can have on registration and attendance. The options you provide can influence the number of people that complete the registration process. It can offer different ways for invitees to pay for registration if you're charging for your event or make donations. Pay by check or credit card are common options. A lot of small businesses and nonprofits are using credit card processors like Authorize.net and ProPay to make credit card payments a seamless part of the process. And you might also find that an online payment solution like Google Checkout or PayPal might work better for you. Just keep in mind that in most cases, options like these will take your registrant out of your own registration form and into a separate website. Also, depending upon the type of event and the audience, you may want to offer the option to pay at the door. Something you need to keep in mind, though, with respect to payment options is that if you only offer one payment option, people may opt out of the registration process at that point. While there may be an option that works best for you and your organization, that may not be the best option for your invitees. So imagine a scenario we have here that shows certain potential attendees and the payment options they prefer. If you start to reduce the options available for paying for the event, you may be limiting the potential pool of people likely to register or attend. In other words, carefully consider how you will let people pay. Now, flash forward to the day after your event. You're all done, right? You've cleaned up, and now you get to go on that vacation you've been putting off while you worked on the event, right? No, not yet. There are still some important steps you need to take as you close out the event as a marketing campaign. The very most important thing to do after the event is to say thank you. Some of the tools that you can use to plan and promote events return your results instantaneously, and others may take 24 hours. Some tools used to run webinars will take that long for the recording and list of attendees and non-attendees, so make sure you know which option your tool is so you can plan accordingly. In either event, once the event is concluded, you can go ahead and check your results and reporting and get a few different things. You can pull a list of attendees and no-shows. Once you have your list, send an email to attendees and to registrants that didn't attend. To attendees, send all the resources. If you had a live event, photos and videos, results like who won raffle prizes or silent auction prizes, additional info you'll be sharing on your webpage, go ahead and send a link. Make sure to nurture them on to the next step, whatever step you decide, with a call to action. And make sure that next step stands out. Some common calls to action are to ask questions on a Facebook page, purchase a product, start a trial, attend the next event. For non-attendees, send a "sorry you couldn't attend" or "here's what you missed" email. Maybe provide a recording or photos or videos and let them know when the next event is. Use the follow-up email to drive registrations. You can use the reporting features to check on revenue from ticket sales or donations if the tool you're using allowed you to collect them. And if you ask questions during the registration process, and that information can be synced with your attendee lists, you can go ahead and start segmenting your lists based on responses. And this will help with your follow-up over time as well. And soon after your event, connect with your attendees and staff and volunteers. Ask them to share any multimedia they capture. And make it easy for them to share by inviting them to post photos to Facebook or any other social channel you utilize. Create albums where you can, and then send a link to your online albums in your follow-up email and in your next newsletter, and link to it from your social media posts. And if you provided event attendees with a hashtag for your event, as well as key social media addresses, then you've provided them with a great tool to share their experience about your event, and a great way for you to check on social visibility that took place during the event. And you can review the results of your event's social media activity pretty easily through most of the social channels and the reporting they offer. You can take a look at when the tweets were posted and compare them to the times that different activities took place. What parts of your event or sessions, speakers, and so on got the most attention on Twitter. And that will help you determine which speakers or topics or parts of the event were most popular. And take a look at who your top participants were on Twitter. And if you're not already following them, then start doing it. Send them direct messages or thank them, or send a tweet that publicly thanks everyone who tweeted about your event. List their Twitter handles. These people are your loyal followers or brand ambassadors. Keep track of them and engage with them. And use surveys to gain insights into how much people enjoyed the event, what they'd like to see done differently, and so on. You can develop a satisfaction score. And over time, this score can help you calibrate your efforts and planning as you make changes to elements of your events and as you strive to provide the best experience. And you can ask a whole range of questions and gain valuable insight with a survey like these: the event venue, the time of year, how was the food, what was the entertainment like, what interests do you have? Get some demographic information. Maybe get a newsletter sign up out of it as well. So I'm going to offer some simple checklists, some for the invitation, a reminder email, and follow-up. And I know that I've put a lot of information in front of you so far, and I know it's not easy to keep all of this straight. So I'm just going to quickly run through the checklist that you can keep in mind, as well as review some of the key points that I've gone over today. By the way, don't forget, I've got several special offers for you. If you're already using Constant Contact, I've got a great offer for you to join a VIP club that will give you up to $2,000 worth of free service. And if you're not yet using Constant Contact, I've got 3 great offers for you too that will save you a bunch of money. Okay, so on checklists and registration, make sure that your organization logo and name are obvious. Make sure you include the date, the time, the location, and the topic. Make sure the sign-up link is the most obvious, if not the only option, and make sure it's above the scroll line. And don't give details that distract from sign-up. Also, Enable people to reconfirm their registration. Note if there's a wait list or if the event is full. Describe the check-in process, where to park, what to bring, emergency contact information, and this can be a long email. They've already registered. Now that you've got their attention, you want to give as much information as possible to ensure they have an enjoyable experience. Make sure afterward you say thank you. Include at least one photo from the event if it's a live event. Ask to participate in a survey, and ask attendees to post or tweet or comment about their experience, and emphasize and re-emphasize the call to action of the event, that you want people to donate or visit your store or volunteer to help. And remember the difference, the benefits of online versus offline. Online enables you to collect RSVPs and fees 24/7. Registration's available all the time, and it enables you to collect all of the information in one place, making it really simple. Collect only the information that you need. Collect just what you need and make it simple, because good data in is good data out. Promote social proof. Let people know who else is coming, and use that data to help you make better business decisions. So make sure you make it easy for your attendees and your registrants. Make the invitation look like you. Brand your communications. Make it look like your website. Make sure you use multiple payment options. And make sure that you give enough time to plan ahead. Honestly, sometimes this feels like you're drinking the ocean, but you really can do this. The key is to make it simple. And it all starts here. Here is that 77% of consumers prefer to be marketed to through email marketing. That's a big number. More than 3/4 of us want to be marketed to via email, and that includes events and notifications about events. And here's what a recent article in Forbes said, that customer acquisition by email has more than quadrupled in the last 4 years. I don't know about you, but I think quadrupled is a pretty big number. And Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, we hear about them all the time, and yet email outperforms them. In fact, email outperforms Facebook and Twitter by over 40-1. People who come into you via email tend to shop more and spend more. And for nonprofits, that means donate more as well. Here's an example of one of our clients. It's a promotional specialties company that used email to market her business, and in 6 months generated $250,000 in incremental sales. Again, she only used email to market her business. I'm going to encourage you to take a look at our free marketing newsletter. It goes out once a month. We include invitations to events in our monthly newsletter. So I encourage you to attend our free seminars and free webinars. And I encourage you too, if you're already using Constant Contact, join our VIP loyalty program. There are no fees. We give you $2,000 in free services. And people ask, why do we do it free? It's because if we give you great service, you'll refer us on to people you know. Here's a benefit of becoming a VIP. Tomorrow afternoon at exactly this time, it's a different URL, but tomorrow afternoon at this time, we'll be doing a quick webinar on overcoming list fatigue. If you're not getting the kind of results that you think you should be getting from your campaigns, event registration, emails, and so on, maybe your list is getting fatigued. Maybe it's getting old. So spend 45 minutes with us tomorrow. Register for the webinar at this link right here. You'll get an email that gives you the link as well, but I would encourage you to register. Registration is filling up pretty fast. I think you'll enjoy this one. And again, it's open to our VIPs. So join our VIP club. If you're not a VIP, You can still sign up for our seminars and webinars. We're doing about 100 events per year, so I would encourage you to sign up for them using this link. If you're not yet using email marketing or any constant contact product, you can get started today with a free 60-day trial. Just go to this URL. It's trythetoolkit.com. Trythetoolkit.com. That ties into us directly. Again, we are constant contact master certified experts, so we can give you whatever help you need. If you're ready to jump right in, the investment is really small. I mean, really small. $20 a month with no contracts, 30-day money-back guarantee. $20 a month is probably less than you'd pay to take a prospect out to lunch one time. You'd go to toolkit.today. Now, I want to make a point here. This is a brand new URL series. So it's toolkit.today, not .com. That will take you to a special website where when you sign up, we will give you a free email campaign template that matches the look of your website. And at the end of September, you can get that with the basic package, which is only $20. So for $20, you get a $200 value. This offer expires September 30th. Again, use toolkit.today. Here's what that website match looks like. Imagine this is your website on the left. We would create an email template that looks just like it for free when you sign up for a paid account. If you've already got an account, contact me and we'll figure out a way to get you that campaign template as well. Second bonus, if you subscribe today, we'll give you an hour of free coaching to help you get your first newsletter out the door. And third bonus, and I will tell you, I just learned about this 20 minutes before the webinar started. I've been asked to offer you another special 30% off your first 3 months if you're a brand new subscriber. So again, go to toolkit.today and use promo code SEP2014. You'll see that on the screen. Okay, so here are the 3 special offers for today's attendees who aren't yet using Constant Contact. 30% off your first 3 months, exclusively from the Countess Group. A free campaign template, an hour of free live help. That's a $375 value. Just go to toolkit.today. So again, we're master certified, one of only 20 people in the world that are. So if you have any questions at all about email marketing or anything related to Constant Contact, just check in with us and we'll help you out. And for those of you who attended, if you're already doing email campaigns, I will, free of charge, do a review of your most recent campaign. Just send me an email after the webinar and I'll tell you how to get that done. So all of this should be pretty easy. We've taken all the risk out. There's free help. There are no contracts. So I would say to you, get started. This is important for you to do. This is the way you get people to integrate with you. By the way, if you need a speaker for an event, if you're a member of a Rotary, a Chamber of Commerce, maybe you are a Chamber of Commerce and you're looking for speakers, we come in and do these seminars free of charge. We have 22 different seminars that we do. So contact me and we'll send you the catalog, and we're happy to go wherever we need to be, or we can do one for you online as well. So again, this is easy to do. You can do it. All it is keep it simple. There's lots of free help available. You can go to any of these sites, and we love helping our clients as well. I hope you will become a client of ours. You can check us out at either of those 2 websites. If you haven't started doing things yet, I encourage you to get started now. I would only ask you, what are you waiting for? Just go ahead and start today. So again, if you need a speaker for an event, a Rotary, your organization, a chamber, you're at a trade show and you need someone to do a breakout session, contact us. And if you need more information about any of this, give us a buzz, contact us at the phone number listed there or at the email address you see on screen. Again, we're master certified experts for constant contact. We're full service marketing and communications consultancy. So I'll take a few moments here. I know we ran a couple of minutes over, and I apologize for that, but I hope you found this information valuable. If you did, go ahead and use that meeting temperature thermometer down at the bottom and slide it over to the right, to the hot area, and let me know what you thought of the seminar. If you have questions, use the Ask a Question button in the upper left-hand corner of your screen, and we'll answer the questions unless it's directly related to something about your specific business, in which case I would say give me a call immediately after the webinar, and we'll go ahead and spend the time to answer the questions for you. So we'll take a pause here for questions. Again, here is my contact information, and we thank you for joining us today. I hope you found high value in this event, and I look forward to having you participate in some of our future events. Thanks for attending. I'll stay around for a few more minutes and answer the questions you may have.